I have a privilege to talk to a couple of people who have been involved. You're working for different organizations, but what brought you together is the movie that you've been working on. So I'm going to try to be funny. Are you dosed?
Not today.
Okay, tell us about the movie and your involvement with it. We're going to have Mark later as well, but why don't you give us the background from your point
Okay, my involvement with the movie was that the filmmakers had been contacted by a mutual friend, and they had come to speak to me about Adrienne's addiction to opiates and how it could be possible that we might be able to work together with her to get her off of the opiates with mushrooms. And I work with Iboga, and so it was just kind of like by chance through a mutual friend that they got to me, and then I expressed that it shouldn't really be mushrooms. They could be very helpful in the beginning and after treatment, but what she really needed was Iboga, and that kind of set because in the beginning the movie was Microdose Me or something like that, and which is really about mushrooms, and that kind of that set the movie off in a different.
You helped them to direct it in a proper way.
Yeah, I mean, I told them, and they went, "Oh, okay," and then Gabor told them, and they went, "Oh, Iboga." So yeah, that's kind of how I got involved.
Beautiful. Patrick, what was your role in involvement?
So, when Adrienne was directed over to us at Iboga Soul, and because we use not just the Ibogaine alkaloid, but the whole Iboga product, being the nurse in charge, we undertook making sure all the safety protocols and that were in place. So it's really I like to think it's a really good blend of gapping of traditional indigenous medicine with Western civilization protocols, procedures, and safety. So my job was to make sure everything was safe with labs and pre-screening EKGs and monitoring her throughout the process for a safe transition throughout.
How long was the process with the entire, not only the process of making a movie, but actually helping her to get off or to go through the process, entire path?
Yeah. So a lot of times, it talks in the movie about, you can take it, one dose and be addicted free, she mentions to that. And for some people, it can happen. It can, the medicine goes in and interrupts it right away, and it does work. Iboga always works. That's the bottom line. Depending on the layers that people have inside, from the different pain, right? Why the pain. So it depends on how intricate that is. It depends on how many times you need to sit down and work through it, and it's an ongoing thing. And it was based over quite a few weeks. She came back several times to just initiate it and lay down with it and do a lot of introspective work with it.
So it's not only the medicine, but there is also the work that needs to be addressed before, during, and after.
Yeah.
That is more addressing emotions, addressing cause of the issue, and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we do our sessions, the medicine is a big component of it. But there's also, in the course of 1 to 2 weeks worth, there's 10 to 20 years of psychotherapy that goes on in that time. Yeah.
A very short period of time.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Garyth, maybe tell us a little bit about your organization and what you do and who would be perfect candidate to work with you.
I work a little bit differently than the Mark and Patrick over at Iboga Soul. Those guys, Mark has been trained more in the a Bwiti way of doing things, and yes, exactly. And I wasn't at all. The people that trained me were recovered heroin addicts. So the approach and everything is really quite different. Their stuff is much more ceremonial, and whereas the kind of work that I do is actually over an extended period of time. So I do a lot more lower dosing of Ibogaine, but a lot more medicine, but over a repeated dosing, normally over 14 days. Sometimes that can be longer.
Wow.
So we just have different approaches. There's different ways to skin a cat.
Right.
So,
and what is the Well, I love cats. Don't skin it.
For want of a better analogy.
Who is the perfect candidates to work with you?
Most of the work we do is pretty much opioid entrenched people. That's kind of become our specialty, kind of forte, you know. So that's kind of who we seem to work with the most. And a certain clientele find their way to us,
right.
you know. And so I work also with a lot of people that don't want to be blown right open,
right.
you know. So I've worked with a lot of Oxycontin addicted housewives and you know, people of that kind of
right.
that end up with that kind of dependency, you know.
If
so
someone is interested, how would they find you?
Word of mouth. I mean, actually, I can be found through the internet, you know. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Same question for you, Patrick. About your work, your organization, and who is the perfect candidate to work with you?
So, I mean, we can be found on the internet. You know, when you look up Iboga, Iboga Soul comes up, and you can write into, you know, info@ibogasoul.com. We receive our emails that way. So the people who come to us, who choose us, and it's usually word of mouth and such, but we cater to a few different types. So there's the people who have addictions, and that could be addictions to drugs, it could be addictions to gambling, or anything to work, or anything that is addictive, and they're perfect for coming and meeting with us and working with the medicine. Also, people who have like mental health issues, be it depression, PTSD, childhood trauma, anxieties, you know, they can come for a very spiritual healing from that and get to the bottom and the base of that part. And there's people we have come who want to just have some introspection and clarity on things moving forward in their life and whatnot, just answers. So, and some people come for a physical healing. So there's a lot of different people who come. Yeah, it's really quite nice, yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for great work, and thanks for participating in our conference and sharing your wisdom with us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.